Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we will continue the discussion. Here we are just one chapter behind, but there's some interesting points from Prabhupada. We'll try to hear what Prabhupada is trying to guide us. So this last time I didn't record this session. So I'll just brief what we discussed last time about yajna. Why should we do yajna? Why sannyasi should not? Why sannyasis are not? No need for them to do yajna. Should be completely detached from fire and any residential quarters. So there we have discussed how heart is filled of ignorance. That is because of attachment. Heart is like a soil, and when we are putting the seeds in the soil, then the seeds will grow and it results into fruits. And that is what is our karma phala. When we do action in ignorance, it causes the results. But fruits will manifest when we do action in ignorance. But when we do action in knowledge, knowledge is considered fire. When we put seeds in fire, they will not grow, they will not fructify, they don't become trees, and but there is no reaction. Action should be done in knowledge. So then we saw how the grains are put in the fire, which is knowledge, and ghee is put by the Brahmana. So ghee is the essence. For the cow, the essence is ghee. And this is by for a Brahmana. So Brahmana is like a guru. So guru is trying to offer the essence. Essence is our devotional part, not just offering the oblations. We need to offer our devotion also to the Lord, and that is done with the help of Guru. Guru helps us offer our consciousness, which frees us from karma, no reaction. So yajna for Kali Yuga is Sankirtan yajna. So when we are chanting, we should chant with consciousness. Otherwise, not much benefit. There's like Prabhupada's the famous recording on chanting. He says, as a child crying for the mother. What is the important part there? The consciousness is so very important, right? And ego determines our actions. That means our identity. Now, any action we are doing is based on what I identify myself. So, samskaras, they provide the ego. And say Upanayana samskara, we discuss the boy is given Upanayana. So, immediately an identity as a brahmachari and he starts acting. So, his identity makes him act. So, same thing we discuss with marriage also. Marriage is a sanskara which gives an ego that, oh, I am a husband, I am a wife. So, that identity makes them act. Identity to act, and like when we go to a job, then first thing what is given is identity. A designation is given in the job. You are so and so. Now, what identity we need to have? I am servant of Krishna. That is the ego we need to develop. I am servant of Krishna. So all the action should be to please Krishna. Nothing for me. It's all only for pleasure of Krishna and not pleasure for myself. Whatever pleases Krishna, I will do it. That means every action we are measuring every action. That is how we are connected to Krishna all the time. We don't have separate identity. So actually it is very painful to not to have separate identity. It looks very easy, devotion, but it is not actually that easy because ego really gets crushed. Any here, here everything is created like that. So anyway, we'll discuss that part separately when the next chapter comes. But relationship, we thought it's no selfishness, 24/7 only for some other person, no expectations, and we should give exclusive time also. And also we have to give selflessly more and more to the person without anything in return. Continuously do for some person. And then now here, Kardamuni, what he does is he fixed his mind upon the Supreme Personality Godhead, Parabrahma, who is beyond cause and effect, who manifests the three modes of mental nature, who is beyond the three modes, and who is pursued only through unfailing devotional service. Lord is revealed, proportion to what? Proportion to the relationships. How we relate with him? Ye yataman prapadyate. That is always applicable. Devotional service is basically relationships. We have to relate with him as a person, then he will manifest as person. If we relate him as impersonal, he will be impersonal. If we relate that he does not exist, he says, so I don't exist. In this material world, people don't want Lord. They cannot enjoy if Lord is there. Not possible. Like if sun is there, then the night the firefly cannot. In the daytime it shines, but it is not seen. Nighttime it is very nicely visible. Similarly, in this world, we don't want Lord. If Lord is there, no, nobody will consider us as hero. Lord says, okay, I'm not there. You carry on. And people are happily carry on with their business. Prabhupada, whenever there is bhakti, there must be these three present. What? The devotee, the devotion, and the Lord. Without these three, bhakti, bhakta, bhakti, and Bhagavan, there is no meaning of the word bhakti. Kadamani fixed his mind on the Supreme Brahman and realized him through bhakti or devotional service. This indicates that he fixed his mind on the personal features of the Lord because bhakti cannot be executed unless one has realized the personal feature, right? So this is the main point. We should accept the Lord as a person. Then only he will be manifesting as person. We should deal with him as a person. Then he will manifest as person. We are like we keep the deities, and whenever we want, we offer. Whenever we want, we do whatever we want. Then Lord also will say, okay, let it be. But you deal with him as a person, he will definitely manifest. There's a question. If we feed dogs or birds in our society, then what? Then with what knowledge and conscience should be done? We can feed them. That is, all living entities are children of Supreme Lord. And here also I give something for our cats. The cat comes. So we try to give. Dogs also sometimes. We give them. Birds also we keep some water for them in summer. Try to put some grains for them. Because they also need to survive and it is our responsibility to take care of all living entities who are around. That is good. Water in summer and sometimes our devotees they put some rice and other things, grains, so that birds will come and eat. And my mother she keeps some box also so that the birds will come and put some nest. We should help the living entities. That is good because they are all connected to Supreme Lord. So we feel that let me whatever I have within my capacity, I try to help and assist other living entities to become. They let them also be happy. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Like that. Consciousness is they are part of Krishna. So if they are happy, Lord is also happy. So from my side, I will try to do some service. We see the connection between them and Lord. That's the only consciousness we should have. And he is beyond the three modes of matter nature, but it is due to him that the three modes of matter nature are manifested. Even though he is not affected, he creates them. Prabhupada, in other words, although the material energy is an emanation of the Supreme Lord, he is not affected as we are. That means if we create something, we get affected by it. If I created a big building, not even big building, one nice villa I created with all the facilities, immediately I get affected by it. If somebody comes and no, he puts some wrong paint on it, how much I get offended. How can you do this? I made such a nice house and you are painting wrongly. I become upset with them. Uh, Pests and rats and cockroaches, mosquitoes. Yeah, we should take care that they don't damage our kitchen and they don't create a problem for us. We should, as much as possible, we should try to keep clean. And if they are so much troubling, they are affecting our bhoga and they are affecting, then we can use some preventions that is allowed. But if you keep as much as possible clean, that will save much of our sinful actions. Cleanness is the first priority. If you clean, then especially all the vessels, all the platform, all the kitchen, all the boxes where we keep, make sure that all the area is very nicely cleaned. Then they'll have less opportunity to grow. But we should rats and all, we should keep the windows closed, drainage and everything proper. Still, if they are coming, then we can use some preventive. Because they will damage the bhoga and they will damage something related. If they are coming in the altar and all, then we will use some preventive measures. Yeah, there is some reaction we'll get, but we can take that much because we don't want to create trouble for the Lord. And we get affected by what we are. That questions are from chat box. I'm sorry. So we create something, na, we get affected by it. That is the problem with all of us. We are, but Lord is not affected. That's why He is very special. We are conditioned, but He is not affected. Although the material nature has emanated from Him, He is a supreme living entity and is never affected by Maya. But we are subordinate, minute living entities, prone to be affected by the limitations of Maya. If he is in constant contact with Supreme Lord by devotional service, the conditioned living entities also become freed from the infection of Maya. If I should not get affected by what I am creating, connect with Supreme Lord who is unaffected, we will get that energy. We will also will not get affected. Otherwise, finish. We cannot come out of all this Maya. It's not possible. So every day, how to connect? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So by chanting, we are connecting ourselves and we are making ourselves immune to what is happening. Otherwise, that immunity does not come. We will be in so much trouble and we face so much difficulties in that way. Not only us, anybody who is in this world, we are seeing why they are having so many difficulties, so many problems. Just one reason, because we are away from Krishna. And this actually point touched me so much. When I was working, this is a point which affected me. You are suffering because you are away from Krishna. I said, okay, become connected. And person engaged in Krishna consciousness is at once liberated from the influence of three modes of material nature. In other words, once the conditioned soul engages himself in devotional service, he becomes liberated like the Lord. And then thus he gradually became unaffected by false ego. So this is what is holding us. What holds us in this material world is our identity. False ego, material identity, and become free from material affections. So if we are having ego, then we have material affections also. Like say I am thinking I am a father, then I have children, then I am affected by the children. Whatever happening to them, good, bad, anything, it affects me because I identify. Undisturbed, equal to everyone, and without duality, he could indeed see himself also. See himself also means see himself as a spirit soul. Right? His mind was turned inward and he perfectly calm like an ocean of unagitated waves. So here it is soul. Unagitated waves. This is actually what happened to Kardamani. And we all have to come to this stage one day to attain to the go to spiritual world. This is not for Kardamani, it's for all of us. We all want to reach this stage. We should be turned inward, perfectly calm, like an ocean, unagitated by the mind. Upper size, this is nice. When one's mind is in full Krishna conscious and one fully engages in rendering devotional service to the Lord, it becomes just like an ocean unagitated by the waves. This very example is cited in Bhagavad Gita. One should become like an ocean. The ocean is filled by many thousands of rivers and millions of tons of its waters evaporate into cloud. Yet, the ocean is the same unagitated ocean. The law of nature may work, but if one is fixed in devotional service, yeah, this is very nice. Very practical for us. The laws of material nature work, but when fixed in devotional service at the lotus feet of Lord, He is not agitated for his introspective. So what this means, loss of material nature work means we are going to get all the troubles. All the things don't go nicely in this world. That means you'll have problem with the government, you'll have problem with the society, environment, nature, and say so much pollution, so much all this corruption in the society. All there is no culture. Culture is lost. We should not be bothered about any of these things. We should be only interested, fixed in devotional service at the lotus feet of Lord, not agitated. We should not get affected by any of the news. That is the laws of nature. Everything will be gone. Everything is going to change. Everything is bhutva bhutva praliyate. No. He does not look outside to material nature. He looks into the spiritual nature of his existence. With a sober mind, he simply engages in devotional service. This is what we all are supposed to do. We should not look outside. It looks like little, oh, these people are, does not look outside to material. We should not be bothered what is happening. Not needed only. Prabhupada time, Bhaktisiddhanta says Thakur time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur time. So many things are happening in India. At the time of Prabhupada only, all this partition, independence came, partition of India happened. We'll never hear Prabhupada is talking about them. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur time, India was under British Raj. We never see them talking about it because it is just a loss of nature. That's all. Finished. So simple. Right? So, thus he realized his own self without false identification with matter and without affection for material. Such a great devotee is never in trouble with other because he sees everyone from the platform of spiritual understanding. See, he is never in trouble with others because he sees everyone in the platform of spiritual understanding. He sees himself and other in the right perspective. This is a devotee. We don't have complaint on anyone. We know it's Krishna is doing for me like this. If somebody comes and shouts on me, I may become upset, but ultimately I know Krishna wants me to learn something. I have done something wrong, and Krishna is trying to teach me through this person. Let me accept it. Why should I complain? Thus, he became liberated from the conditioned life and become self-situated in transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead Vasudeva, the omniscient super soul within everyone. So, brothers, when one engage in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, one becomes aware that his constitutional position as an individual soul is to be eternally a servitor of Supreme Lord. So now the problem is there is a desire to lord it over material nature. We all want to become Supreme Lord only. We are competing. That's why we are here. There is Lord Ananta below the whole material, all the Brahmandas. He is the one who does all these things for us. He does two jobs. One is to make us forget about the Supreme Lord and make us feel that I am Supreme Lord. And if we want, he will make us remember also that okay, we are servants. Ananta means unlimitedly he is serving the Supreme Lord, and that's actually what we are to do. So we come to this understanding. What is that understanding? Eternally a servitor of Supreme Lord. That means unlimitedly keep on serving, keep on serving, keep on serving. That's all. That's what we get to realize. Self-realization does not mean that because the super soul and individual both souls, they are equal in every aspect. The individual soul is prone to be conditioned and the super soul never. When the conditioned soul realizes that he is subordinate to the supreme soul, his position is called Labdhatma. self-relation or mukti bandha, freedom from contamination. Material contamination continues as long as one thinks that he is as good as the Supreme Lord or equal to him. This is the problem for all of us. This condition is the last snare of Maya. Maya always influences the condition source even after much meditation and speculation. If one continues to think himself one with the Supreme Lord, it is to be understood that he is still in the last snare of Maya. One should not think that he is freed from reactions because he has forgotten the action of his past. Reactions will take place, and what kind of reactions? They will be judged by the super soul and witness. Yeah, super soul is in everyone's heart. They are all taken care by the. Next shloka says he began to see the supreme personality of Godhead is seated in everyone's heart, and that everyone is existing on him because he's the super soul of everyone. Prabhupada is writing that everyone is existing on the Supreme Personality of God does not mean that everyone is as God Himself. This is also explained. So, this understanding Prabhupada puts again and again and again because we want to put it in our system very badly. This mysterious position has to be understood by highly advanced devotee. Three kinds of devotees Prabhupada says, and Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama in this. And then the last sloka says that freed from all hatred and desire, Kardamuni being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional cells, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. So he perfected his life. So Tripad Vibhuti. Good. So he attained the Supreme Lord. Super. Now the next chapter is that Sri Saunaka said, although he is unborn, he is talking about the Supreme Lord. कपिलस्तत्व संख्याता भगवान आत्म मायया जात स्वयं अज साक्षात आत्म ज्ञापते नृणाम. Sanaka said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of God took birth as Kapil Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate the transcendental knowledge for the benefit of whole human race. So this is teachings of Lord Kapila, the son of Devati, verse 1. So this is Prabhupada took it so seriously. He wrote a book only on this because such a important instructions they are. This is very helpful if we are having emotions. We are very sentimental, and philosophy is very important. But if we don't get carried away in our life, and we are emotional, we are getting affected, and philosophy will help us. That's what Arjuna was crying, and Krishna gave philosophy. That is the best way. Now, anyway, we are going to cry in future. Better now hear the philosophy so that we can overcome our grief in the future. And that's going to happen for everyone. Parabhavastava. It's not because we have to leave all the things which we are attached. That's actually the greatest cause of grief. We don't want to do it, but there is no option for us. So the Prabhupada writes, this is very important purport. The word Atma Prajnapati indicates that the Lord descends for the benefit of human race to give transcendental knowledge. So what we all need is we want Lord to help us, but we want Lord to help us in our own way. We say Lord should, in a dream I am there, and we want Lord to help in our dream. But Lord want us to wake up from the dream. That is the difference. One way is that he should help me, he should come in my dream and make my dream very beautiful. Beautiful house, 4 BHK, and no nice car, nice mobile, nice. We want Lord to help in our dream, but Lord is trying to wake us from the dream. So that is the difference. So he is coming to give this knowledge. Material necessities are quite sufficiently provided for in the Vedic knowledge, which offers a program for good living condition and gradual elevation to the platform of goodness. In mode of goodness, one's knowledge expands. On the platform of passion, there is no knowledge. For passion, simply an impetus to enjoy material benefit. On the platform of ignorance, there is no knowledge, but simply life almost like that of animal. But actually very important. Mode of ignorance gives stability. Mode of goodness, na, it is light and is knowledge. Mode of passion is movement. But whereas ignorance, very important, ignorance gives stability. And Anantadev, we all need stability. Lord Ananta, who is called also called uh, uh, ignorance, he gives stability, he holds. Mode of goodness, it is light. Passion is movement. Ignorance is needed. So all the three modes are needed in one way. If you we do not sleep only in the night, if you don't have ignorance, there is the option of sleeping. Whole day we are awake only. Like if you see cows, na, they hardly sleep because they are in so much goodness in because their body is ignorance, but they're in goodness, so they don't sleep much in the night also. The Vedas are meant to elevate one from mode of ignorance to a platform goodness. When one is situated in mode of ignorance, he is able to understand knowledge of self or transcendental knowledge. This knowledge cannot be, we don't need so much good ignorance, we need little ignorance. Presently, what is happening now? So much passion is there and so much ignorance is there. Goodness is very less. We need more goodness, little passion, and very, very little ignorance. So that's how the balance should be. This knowledge cannot be appreciated by any ordinary man. Therefore, since a disciple succession is required, this knowledge is expounded either by Supreme Lord or is bona fide. So here, Savanka, he is simply appreciated. No, there are some simply to understand that one is not matter, one is spirit, soul is not sufficient knowledge. There are such statements, Naham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, and all these things. They are meant to make one bewildered only. It makes a person think I am the Supreme Lord. There is one famous book. I will not recommend you to read. There is Conversation with the Lord. There are 4 volumes of it. This is a Russian author. Very, very famous book. And uh, he was having a conversation with God. He said he is directly talking to Lord and he wrote. And at the end, what is the proof? That I am Supreme Lord. And even devotees are also reading. Don't read it. They will get bewildered. But why it is popular? Because same thing. I am the Supreme Lord. We want to lord it over material nature. That's why we are here. Knowledge of those activities is explained by the Supreme Personality of God. Such transcendent knowledge can be appreciated in human society, but not in animal society. Human life is regulated life, not animal life. So we should be regulated. And next, nahi asya varshmaya pumsam virmana sarva yoginam vistuto srutadevasya bhuri tripyanti me swayah. Hanukkah continues, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is actual pleasure of senses. So, Bhagavad Gita it is stated that no one can be equal or greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko Bahuna Yo Vidadati Kama. So, he is the Supreme. Nahi Asya Brishmaya Pumsam. Among the living entities, no one can surpass the Supreme Lord. No one is qualified. Anyone who associates Supreme Lord is accepted as first class yogi. Because also uses here the word Varmanaha, meaning the most worshipful of all yogis. To hear from Krishna is the real pleasure of senses. Therefore, yeah, this is very nice statement. This is a, to hear from Krishna is the real pleasure for senses. That means Bhagavad Gita should be the sense gratification for us. Therefore, he is known as Govinda. For by his words, by his teachings, by his instructions, by everything connected with him, he enlivens the senses. Whatever he instructs is for the transcendental, is from the transcendental platform, and his instructions being absolute are non-different from him. Oh, this is very important. The more one reads Bhagavad Gita, boss. Bhagavad Gita can be read or heard many times, but because it gives pleasure. The more one reads Bhagavad Gita, the more he gets appetite to read and understand it, and each time he gets new enlightenment. That is the nature of transcendental message. We find that the transcendental happiness in Srimad Bhagavatam, the more we hear and chant the glories of Lord, the more we become happy. So we have some question in chat box. Remembered once you shared example, Lord telling you create your own sand. Yeah, and here very opposite. Some people write books that one himself is supreme Lord. Yeah, there are. What happens is there is a story. What happened? This we all know the story. Kadru and Vinata they had a bet. They had a fight. They showed that Uchchaishrava horse. It is white in color. So Kadru says that its tail is black, and Vinata says no, 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 it is white. So then they say, okay, what is the bet that you become servant of me, I become servant of you. Whoever gets defeated, then Vinata goes and tells to the children, all the snakes, go and hide in the tail. Then Lord Ananta, he does not agree. Then he says, okay, whoever did not agree, they will burn in the sacrifice of Janmejaya. That time, Ananta goes to Brahma and he complains, Arey, what is your creation? All this nonsense is there here. We are trying to live properly. No, because of living properly, I want to be straight. And you are cursing me only. What is your creation? Then Brahma says, yeah, what can be done? This is what is the creation. This is meant for living entities like this only. There is no option. Then what should I do? Okay, go beyond this creation and hold these universes. And now Anta is the person who gives that false ego for living entities to identify himself as the Supreme Lord. He does the ego part. And he is the super soul of Lord Shiva also, Ananta. Now here, this is actually the purpose of Lord. We say Lord is only doing because everybody in this creation want to lord it over. They want to become the Lord. Ananta said. And what happens is he tolerates that how much these people are trying to lord it over. And once his patience breaks, then he releases fire from his mouth and he burns all the universes. Again, Mahavishnu creates, Lord Ananta holds. He tolerates, and again he burns everything. He says, this is too much. This people will never understand. But this is how it happens. This is the nature of this metal world that we all wanted to lord it over. We want to become the supreme lord. And next look, yad yad vidatte bhagavan swachandatmatma mayaya tani me shraddadhanasya kirtayan anukirtaya. Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of God who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. The word, I'll just take one more shloka because Devoti starts from shloka 5, 6. So I'll just take two shlokas and we'll finish. The word Anukirtaya is very significant. Anukirtaya means to follow the descriptions, not to create a concocted mental description, but to follow. Savanakrish requested Sudha Goswami to describe what he had actually heard from his spiritual master. He wanted to know from the parampara. And Prabhupada writes that, yeah. And next shloka says, Suta Uvacha, no, Saunaka Drishyas, no, Suta is telling, Dvaipayana Sakastva evam Maitreyo Bhagavan Sata Pradeham Viduram Pita Anivikshyam Pachodati. Sutta Goswami said, the most powerful sage Maitreya was a friend of Vyasadeva Being encouraged and pleased by Vidra's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Proper and 8 point. Question and answers are very satisfactorily dealt with when the inquirer is bona fide and the speaker is also authorized. Here, Maitreya is considered a powerful sage, therefore, he is described as Bhagavan. The word can be used not only for the Supreme Personality but for anyone who is almost as powerful as Supreme Lord. So, when there is a discourse on transcendental topics between devotees of equal mentality, the questions or answers are very fruitful and encouraging. Well, this is actually, and for today, Maitreya said when Kardamani left to the forest, Lord Kapila stayed at on the strand of Bindu Sarovar to please his mother. And in the absence of father, it is a duty to grown up son to take charge of mother and to serve her to the best of his ability so that she will not feel separation from her husband, and it's duty of husband to leave home as soon as there is grown son to take charge of his wife and family affairs. That is a Vedic system of household life. One should not remain constantly implicated in household affairs up to the time of death. He must live. Family affairs and the wife must be taken charge by a grown-up son. So now Kali Yuga, what we have to do? Preach. You need not go out anywhere, but you continuously preach, continuously do more and more devotional service. We can be free from this entanglement. Not a problem. Okay, thank you all very much. We'll meet tomorrow. No, Monday. Hare Krishna.